Hey everybody, so today we are going to be watching The Huge Car Problem. Again, I will link the original creator down below. I really want to watch this video. Let's watch.
This is a 1995 Honda Accord. It's a comfortable mid-size family sedan. This is what it looks like next to a 1995 Honda Civic. This is what the 1995 Honda Accord looks like next to a 2025 Honda Civic.
Yo, what? No way.
Why did cars get so big? Surprisingly,
Actually, I knew cars were getting bigger. I think it's a trend with that started with trucks for sure. I think Rams and all types of trucks companies, I feel like slowly, like same with electric, I feel like slowly each manufacturer is changing to more green energy, but then also making it bigger. Because I've seen like on the road like a 1993 Miata, and it looks like the world's smallest car, like right next to like a 2020 Honda. Like I just didn't know it was more of like that big of a difference, but wow, that's crazy. Like, can you imagine getting like what if a Miata got in a car crash with like a Ram truck? Like that would be terrible.
Last 20 years isn't the first time we've had massive cars. In the 1950s, bigger was better. After World War II, we had cheap fuel, growing families, and no worries about efficiently producing cars. Like you could literally find coins in your couch cushions
and buy gas with that. And like gas was like 3 cents.
And get a full tank of gas. Cars were getting longer, wider, more powerful, and more luxurious. Having a big car was a status symbol. By the early 1970s,
like these type of cars, they weren't efficient. Like if you see, they have only 4 seats, but it is mad long for no reason. Like it's like a symbol, and it's not really efficient. Nowadays, like this same size car could fit like 6 passengers at least.
Many American sedans were over 18 feet long, which is roughly the same size as a 2025 F-150 Super Crew. They were badass, heavy, and super comfortable. Like, dude, look at the Chevrolet Bel Air. When I think of a car from the 50s, this is the first one that comes to mind. They're super colorful, big cars, and just make whoever's driving it look really...
they're like a statement piece. Like, I feel like when you even think of like, when you see a car like this, you already know, like, you know this is a Chevrolet, like, you know.
Cool. Then Cadillac made the Eldorado, which actually looks like a Batmobile.
It does.
You're either gonna see a car like this at a drive-in restaurant or...
Oh man, bro, like this sort of vibe is so... Like, it gives me such nostalgia, even though like I didn't live through this era, but like I just feel such nostalgia. I don't know if anyone can relate to that.
See a car like this at a drive-in
I know there's restaurants out there that's like this, that's like that vintage vibe, but I don't feel like it's as common as it should be.
Restaurant or in like Nuketown. There were just cool cars everywhere at this point. We have the
Nuketown peak reference.
60s Mustang, the Pontiac GTO, the Dodge Charger, and so many other badass cars, which were all huge. People were going crazy over these cars as well. Unfortunately, the fun had to come to an end. The oil crisis of 1973 changed everything. Basically, oil nearly quadrupled in price within a super short amount of time, which made everything boring. When the price of fuel went up, all of a sudden it wasn't that cool to have a land yacht. People started to care more about fuel economy, reliability.
Who cares about that?
And even the cost of a car up front.
Massive
American sedans did not check any of those boxes at all, which is where the small Japanese cars came along. Honda brought us the slow, cheap, and reliable Honda Civic, while
the Honda classic right there.
Toyota gave us the Corolla. These cars were actually about as slow and boring as shit. It's not like people were choosing to drive a Civic or a Corolla over...
They walked so that 2026 Honda Civic could run.
A Mustang. They needed to. 40 miles a gallon was revolutionary compared to the 10 or 15 miles a gallon you could get from American sedans. Not worrying about your car starting in the morning was also a plus. They were also surprisingly comfortable for city driving, since you didn't have to worry about hucking a 20-foot car around a corner. The more popular Japanese cars got, the less popular American cars got. People started to actually notice how nice the build quality of Japanese car.
And I feel like this is also coming like something similar to what's happening now, where people are noticing like luxurious Chinese vehicles are like half the price of luxurious American vehicles, and they have cool features. Like I know there's one car brand that literally makes the car jump, you know? If Chinese cars were to be in the American market, a lot of people will stop buying American cars, and I think American companies know that, and that's why they push so hard for the banning of Chinese cars. Honda and Toyota, the boost back then would be the same as like a BYD. I think that's what they're called.
Cars were. They were reliable, efficiently built, and set a new standard for a daily driver. When you look at American cars of the time next to Japanese ones, the difference in quality is pretty clear. After American automakers started to see how much people like Japanese cars like the Datsun 510,
they pivot. Exactly. Even when Tesla first started to like rise up and become popular, many car manufacturers switched to electric, not only because of cost saving, but because they knew that was the new market. Like take for example Jaguar. Jaguar literally stopped producing cars just to put all their effort into making electric cars. And we're not going to talk about that. The disaster of that they had to like restart the whole campaign or something.
Ford tried to fill the void by making the Pinto, which was also rushed, but the main issue is that it would actually just blow up. Speaking of blowing up, let's fast forward like 10 years. In the 1990s, safety became important all of a sudden. It became mandatory for cars to have airbags, stronger crash structures.
I think that's also because death rates probably skyrocketed as well.
More electrical.
More people were getting cars, more people would get into accidents, therefore more people would care about safety.
Well, a whole lot of other bullshit. Well, I guess it wasn't really bullshit because the fatality rate dropped like 35%. Anyway, cars got boring and safe. These safety features added a decent amount of weight and size to the cars. So basically in the 50s, people cared about having a badass car, and then in the 90s, they cared about their family surviving or whatever. Volvo was one of the cars that made people start viewing safety as a luxury.
I think it is the top brand for safety
feature. The Volvo 850 looks about as cool as shit, and you just can't die while you're driving one. The 90s Accord had a bunch of new safety features.
I wonder if anyone has like went 100 miles per hour into a Volvo and seen really tested that out.
And became even more popular. Finally, the US...
I don't recommend that though. I don't.
Locked in and made the Ford Taurus, which was safe and practical. This kind of seems like the sweet spot, right? Around this time, cars were a good size, they were safe, they were reasonably raw, but then automakers found this loophole that would print them cash. They realized that under US regulations, SUVs were considered light trucks, not cars. Trucks didn't have to meet the same
I did not know that.
Economy and safety regulations as cars, which meant these greedy automakers could simply drop a fat car on a cheap truck frame to make the most profitable vehicle possible. Wow. They basically sold it to suburban moms as a safer option for transporting their family. So people saw these fat cars on cheap truck frames and absolutely ate that shit up. SUVs became the new normal, and you basically saw these things everywhere. People loved the SUV because they felt safer, you sit up higher, and they're capable of getting over rough terrain, but people also loved cars because they were more comfortable size, they handled well, and they're fuel efficient.
I'm so surprised that SUVs were considered trucks. That's very surprising because I think SUVs are way more like they're closer to being a car, like closer to being a sedan basically, than the title of a truck. But wow.
All of these factors bring me to the Lexus RX 300. It's basically a Toyota Camry that was stretched vertically, put on squishy suspension, and then built to be as comfortable as possible. Toyota did not give a shit about making this thing off-road capable, they just wanted it to be comfortable. And it turns out that's what people wanted too. The Lexus RX 300 sold extremely well right when it came out. Every car got about as big as shit, which brings us to today. Hatchbacks basically died. Wagons started to go extinct, and even sedans are on life support. If you look at an ad for a car on TV, 9 times out of 10 it's for some sort of safe, boring car.
It is for I never realized that. But like I don't think I haven't seen a car ad with a sedan in such a long time. Like it's always like a Kia SUV or a Volvo or a BMW SUV. It was never. Or maybe like, you know, like at the end picture where there's like 4 cars and it says like APY on like 4 cars. There's like one that's a sedan. All the rest are SUVs. I never realized that. Wow.
Crossover. It's not like everyone wants to drive these cars, but you kind of have to in order to feel comfortable on the road. So I don't blame drivers for wanting to.
Because it's also more comfortable. It's more like, I think it's human nature to, like, if you're driving in like a vehicle that's going 60 miles per hour on a highway, if you're driving in like a vehicle that makes you shorter, and you look at people's like like the top of their wheel, it's less comforting than if you're on the same level as everybody else. Because I have noticed that where there's more trucks and more SUVs.
So I don't blame drivers for wanting to drive a car that's the same size as everyone else's. But it's just weird how quickly these types of cars became standard, right? I feel like.
Yeah, but again, it's like a trend. I think a lot of manufacturers follow a trend because trends get sales basically.
In a lot of cases, wagons, hatchbacks, or even sedans have plenty of room for most people's needs. I wonder if we'll ever get back to small.
I do think trends fluctuate, and I think car brands especially, they push so hard for electric, but now they're kind of going backwards. Like, I feel like they're not pushing as hard for electric. Um a lot of car brands are actually pushing for hybrid or for gas, as the I it could be just my assumption, but I haven't seen a fully electric car like ad in so long. I do think that car manufacturers are either going hybrid or going back to gas, because there is problems with electric. Um, and not a lot of people want electric. Like, I feel like the electric market in 2023, 2018 to 2023 was really high up there. But I feel like now, especially recently, I feel like most cars are either hybrid or fully gas still.
Cars being normal. One of the funnier things about cars
Like, most of the charging stations I see are only Teslas. Like, I never see like actual like other brands like Toyota or Honda or anything like that in those charging stations.
getting bigger is that sports cars are also getting bigger. Like BMW actually started putting M badges on massive cars like the E70 X5M. I think it's a really cool car, but putting an M badge on it feels really weird. I mean, it does make 555 horsepower, but an M car isn't about the speed in a straight line. Look at the E30 M3, for example. From this car until the E46 M3, maybe even the E92 M3, it was all about having a raw driver-focused car. They were light, the engines were rev happy, and they were good cars all around. As big cars became more popular, so did BMW's M cars, and I think it's making them worse. Let's say you can pick between two BMW M5s to race in a hill climb. Your first option is the brand new G90 M5, which makes 720 horsepower and can get up to 60 miles an hour in just 3 seconds, which is super impressive. Your other option is BMW's third ever M5, the E39 M5. It makes under 400 horsepower, the 0 to 60 is 2 seconds slower than the G90, and I would pick the E39 every time. The E39 weighs a bit under 4,000 pounds, while the G90 M5 weighs 5,500 pounds? Do you know what else weighs 5,500 pounds? A Cadillac Escalade, a Ram 15.
That's insane. Oh, I did not expect that.
1,500.
I guess it makes sense that the more horsepower it has, the heavier it's gonna be. But it kind of like cancels each other out. Like, that much weight, it doesn't it lower speed? Because I'm pretty sure like street racers, there's a really common thing where they take out all like the seats, and they change to bucket seats because they weigh less. Because the less a car weighs, the faster it goes, right?
Or 5.5 grand pianos. I do not want any performance car that I'm driving to feel like 5.5 grand pianos.
But it does make you doesn't it make you feel more safer, especially if it's a daily car? Like, if it's a performance car, that's different. But if it's a daily car, would you rather drive a 5,000 ton wouldn't you rather drive a 5,000 pound daily than a 2,000 pound daily? You know?
What the fuck? All this being said, I understand.
Especially if other cars around you are the same weight as your car.
understand why they chose to make such a massive car. These days, even driving an E39 M5 feels kind of small on the road, let alone an E46 M3. So if BMW dropped a small sport sedan in 2026, people would just not feel comfortable driving that shit. A lot of people seem to prefer going for a bigger car, even if it's not the best option for performance. The Escalade V, the Trackhawk, GLS 63, even the fucking Lamborghini Urus. Like, cars are getting so big that even Lamborghini had to tap in. I think it's interesting how we got to this.
But even Ferrari, I feel like Lamborghini tapped in way earlier than Ferrari. Ferrari tapped in like 3 years ago with their SUV. That's crazy. And I'm pretty sure, maybe I'm mistaken, but I swear Ferrari one time said that they will never make an SUV, and then they started to make SUVs. Just because also how profitable it is. Like, you can't not follow the game. Even if you're a established car brand, you need to follow the trends. The trends make money, and that's their bottom line. That's what they want.
This point where massive cars are just the new normal, and I honestly don't think they're as good as the smaller cars. That's for a few reasons: the seating position, weight, and the headlights. Rear end someone in my Mini Cooper, first of all, I'd be pissed because it's a cool Mini, but second of all, it wouldn't do that much damage to their car. If I rear end someone in a Jeep Wagoneer,
or if what the hell is this screen? Or if you ram, if I know I've seen a lot of videos where it's like a Jeep, but like the Jeep that has like an angry face. Put it right up. I don't know what it's exactly called, but the Jeep with the angry face, it could rear end someone, and literally there's no damage on the Jeep, but the whole entire back end of the first car is totaled. Like that's insane. Exactly, which is like why no one wants to go in smaller cars nowadays, because it literally is unsafer, you know?
every single one of those 6,400 pounds is gonna completely pancake their car. While cars got big as shit, roads stayed about the same, or sometimes even got smaller. The roads were paved a long time ago, back when cars were a lot smaller than they are today. The roads in the US aren't as small as some of the ones in Europe, of course, but they're definitely not big enough for an Escalade V.
Has anyone seen those videos of like UK drivers driving on the street? The road is so small and it's like so crammed in. And those cars are usually smaller than American cars. So I can't even imagine an actual American car driving on those streets.
The headlight angle is what pisses me off the most about big cars, though. For some reason, the dudes who designed these huge cars decided that they needed to make the headlight angle completely blinding for anyone with a smaller car. Whenever a massive car is behind me at night, it makes driving nearly impossible. Merging onto the highway with one of these cars behind you is super difficult. Not only is your rear view mirror blinding you, but
yeah, because the car is shorter, so it's literally right in the eyesight of the headlight.
So are the wing.
And isn't more manufacturers changing their headlights to LED?
The drivers of these huge cars can't do anything about it either. They just sit up so high that their headlight angle actually just needs to be that way. It's really weird. I feel like I should just mount a light bar to the back of my trunk so I can defend myself. Just to put into
to reflect the light off.
Perspective how big some of these cars are. The 9,500 pound GMC Hummer EV is roughly the weight of 10 concert-sized grand pianos. Yes.
Because, okay, so back then when you drive a bigger car, it used more fuel, correct? But now that there's more technology that makes it fuel efficient or makes it electric, less people care. Like, there's no more downside to driving a bigger car anymore. Like,
I see thinking of.
That's why I don't think it's gonna be a backwards trend of people getting smaller cars again.
Getting a BMW E70 X5 diesel as a daily driver. So I guess I'm feeding into the problem. Let me know what you think of massive cars in the comments.
All right. That was a amazing video. I really liked that. I didn't realize cars were that big, but yeah, I guess so. Anyways, I'll see you guys.